हेलो एंड वेलकम एवरीवन टू द डेली न्यूज एनालिसिस ऑफ 14th ऑफ जनवरी 2023। तो आज के इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल्स हिंदी न्यूज पेपर से वन बाय वन पहले देख लेते हैं। अयोध्या मस्क टू बी बेटर देन ताज, देन रिसीव डिटेल्स फ्रॉम इंडिया ऑन सिक्योरिटी, सोशल सिक्योरिटी पैक्ट, मोर वर्क रिक्वायर्ड ऑन सब्जेक्ट यूएसटीआर। The India's oldest living city found in Vadnagar multi-institution study. What are the complaints in Digi Yatra? Then what is aviation safety under scrutiny? Then why has South Africa dragged Israel to ICJ justice without power? तो पहला आर्टिकल जो है अयोध्या मॉस्क टू बी बेटर देन ताज। The Indo-Islamic Cultural Foundation (IICF), the trust overseeing the construction of the mosque in Ayodhya, has decided to try a different approach to funding the project that has not taken off yet due to paucity of money and administrative delays. It will relaunch the efforts, this time with the vigor and pomp of the Ram Temple taking the lead in the new chief of the mosque's development committee. Appointment in November 2023, Haji Ashraf Sheikh, a Bharatiya Janata Party leader from Maharashtra, earlier the plan by S.M. Akhtar, the founder Dean of the Pau City of Architecture at Jamia Millia Islamia University in Delhi, had included a hospital, a community kitchen, a library, and a research center across 4,500 square meters. Now the aim is to build one of the biggest mosque of India, better than Taj Mahal, along with the world's biggest Quran that will measure about 21 feet, Mr. Sheikh says. Zero carbon footprint design. The earlier design looked like an eggshell and not at all like a mosque, he said, of zero carbon footprint design, adding that the new design prepared by a Pune-based architecture Imran Sheikh will be ready by February end, while the hospital and community kitchen will be retained. More features has been introduced. It will also be the first mosque in India to have five minars, a water and a light show is also being planned. The Uttar Pradesh government organizes one at the Sarayu River Ghat in Ayodhya where Ramayana plays out every evening. We will have water playing in synchronized with the Ajan inside the mosque. The lights of the mosque will come at the sunset and go off at sunrise automatically. We will also have a giant fish aquarium bigger than that of Dubai for the youth, said Mr. Sheikh. Mr. Sheikh's construction of the expanded vision begin within the second half of the 2024 after Ramzan. A brick with verses of Quran inscribed over it will travel to Medina in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia at the prominent Dargah across India. He said, adding that it will finally be laid at the site. The mosque had been allotted the 5 acres plot 25 kilometers away from the heart of the Ayodhya in Danipur in February 2020. The Supreme Court in November 2019 temple in Ayodhya at the site where Hindu fundamentalists had brought down the 16th century Babri Masjid in December 1992. Mr. Sheikh was appointed in the role by Jafar Ahmad Faruqi, the president of IICF, the trust formed by the Uttar Pradesh Mosque in Ayodhya, the Uttar Pradesh Sunni Central Waqf Board, to build the mosque in Ayodhya. He was also made a trustee in the IIFFC and one of its advisors last year. Mr. Sheikh, who is the former chairperson of Maharashtra State Commissioner for Minorities, also objected to the Mission for Minorities, also objected to the name of Mosque Masjid e Ayodhya and has changed it to Muhammad bin Abdullah Masjid, named after the Prophet. The next article received details from India on Social Security Pact. More work on subject US required on subject USTR. The US Trade Representatives Catherine Tai on Saturday said the US has received the information from India recently on the proposed Social Security Agreement and there was much work to be done on subject. Social Security Totalization Agreement is one of the key asks from the Indian side in the meeting of the Trade Policy Forum here, as it will significantly contribute towards enhancing services trade between countries and help Indian IT professionals who temporarily work in US. India has submitted all the relevant data on its social security schemes, which was sought by the US to start negotiation on agreement. We have the information and ball is back in our court, but it's just landed in our court, so there is a lot work to do to facilitate conversations on India's proposal. Mrs. Tai told press persons she was here for 15th TPF meeting. Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal and Mrs. Tai co-chaired the TPF meeting. Under the agreement, an expatriate in either country need not contribute to the social security scheme of the host country. It will benefit a number of Indians, particularly from the IT sector, who are working in America and paying social security but are unable to get any benefit out of it. Asked about the issues being raised by the US side on India's import management system for specified IT hardware, Mrs. Tai said they had asked India to hold consultations with them and other stakeholders on such matters. She added that the consultation would ensure that such decisions did not disrupt the regulatory environment, which is important for both sides. Mr. Goyal at the TPF meeting elaborated on India's objectives, including those related to national security concerns on the matter. A joint statement issued after the TPF meeting said the two ministers expressed a commitment to launch future joint initiatives in central areas in the including in critical minerals and trade in high tech products in which the US and India will develop a forward looking roadmap for enhanced cooperation. As part of the roadmap, she said we are going to begin with fact finding explorations and establishing a common vocabulary is asked about agriculture related issues on both sides. The USTR said America was looking at a great market access for products such as almonds, walnuts, blueberries, and cranberries. India has issued issues with regard to grapes, mangoes, and pomegranate in the US market. On India's concerns over delays in the visa process for Indian businesses, Mrs. Tai said the USTR office facilitated the conversations on this subject with the parts of US administrations that were responsible for these issues. The next article, a near complete dam of Ken Betwa project yet to be environmental node. A major dam project of Madhya Pradesh government, which is part of the center's Marquee Ken Betwa River interlinking project, was found to be in violation of environmental clearance laws by an expert committee of Union Environment Ministry. The Hindu has learned from a perusal of publicly available document. The center has invoked a set of controversy orders whose legality is being examined by the Supreme Court. The sequence of events demonstrate the confusion amongst the states is in interpreting the center's environment clearance process and how this result in ad hoc fixes being applied as amendments. In 2019, the Madhya Pradesh government began constructing the lower order dam, part of the second phase of center's ambitious Ken Betwa River interlinking project, only to be told by an expert appraisal committee EAC tasked with assessing the environmental impact of projects in 2022 that the state had not taken for a formal clearance from the Environmental Ministry for the project. The expert committee in December 2022 recommended that the Environment Ministry consider taking necessary actions on the violation against the project proponent as per law. The project proponent here was the National Water Development Agency (NWDA), a Jal Shakti Ministry body. Following a site visit, the committee reported that about 82% of the dam and 33.5% of the canal network had been completed without a clearance from the ministry. The NWDA also did not have consent to operate certificate. The EAC recommended that the project developers undertake a fresh environmental appraisal process, assess the ecological damage that had ensured. The layout a damage restoration plan. This recommendation derived from a slew of executive orders issued by the Environment Ministry in 2017, 2021, 2022, whereby a standard operating procedure was put in place to allow companies, private and state-led, who had violated the terms of their environmental clearance or were operating without one to legalize their activity. Along with the fresh set of conditions, the new orders required companies to pay a fine that worked out a out to a percentage of the cost and turnover of the commissioned project. Nearly a year after this recommendation, in a meeting of the EAC in December 2023, the body recommended that the lower order project be subject to a fresh evaluation and that the NWDA submit more data calculating the potential damage that may have ensued from the construction. The Supreme Court on January 2 this year put all orders of the ministry on hold as part of the proceedings. In November, another case filed by NGO One Shakti, where such post facto mining companies have been challenged. The next hearing of this matter is scheduled in 4 weeks. The next article is Jaishankar to visit Iran, US, and UK target areas under the Houthi control. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will visit Tehran on Sunday and Monday. The Ministry of External Affairs announced on Saturday. The visit indicates continued engagement between New Delhi and Tehran even as the Iranian government faces verbal attacks from Israel, India's other partner in the region. The ministry announcement said that Dr. Jaishankar would meet his counterpart Hossein Amir Abdullah to discuss bilateral, regional, and global issues. This is the first ministry level visit to Iran from India since the beginning of Gaza crisis on October 7. Foreign Secretary Binay Quatra visited Tehran on November 26 to participate in the Foreign Office consultation. Iran recently included India among countries whose citizens will not require a visa to travel to the country. Relation on track. India's engagement with Iran has remained on track despite continuous criticism of Tehran by Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. India condemned the terrorist attack in Iran's Kerman that claimed more than 100 lives significantly when an explosion-like incident took place near the embassy of Israel on Delhi on December 26. Online supporters of Israel quickly blamed Iran for it. India has not revealed any Iranian connections to that incident so far. Dr. Jaishankar's visit is also significant as it comes 2 days after the US and UK began bombing Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. A joint statement by the mainly Western alliance said the actions were in line with the broad consensus reached at the UN Security Council meeting on December 19, 2023, which was attended by 44 countries. The Indian side has not made any official comment in support of the operation. On its part, India has developed and deployed 10 ships in the overall Arabian Sea area, indicating that it is willing to safeguard its commercial interest in the region separately from any kind of alliance with any of its partners countries in or outside the region. Then next article, a center yet to take a call on beginning HPV vaccine campaign for girls. Then India's oldest living city found in Bhannagar multi-institution study. A joint study by five prominent institutions has found evidence of a cultural continuity in Bhannagar in present-day Gujarat even after the collapse of Harappan civilization, thus marking it likely that the Dark Age was a myth from the deep archaeological excavation at Bhannagar. A consortium of scientists from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur Archaeological Survey of India, Physical Research Laboratory, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and Deccan College has now found evidence of human settlement that is as old as 800 BCE, contemporary to late Vedic pre-Buddhist Mahajanapadas or uh, oligar- oligarchic republic. The IIT said on Friday the study also indicates that the rise and fall of different kingdoms during the 3000-year period, the and a recurrent invasion of Central Asian warrior was driven by severe challenges in climate like rainfall and droughts. The findings is just published in a paper titled Climate, Human Settlement and Migration in South Asia from Early Historic to medieval period. Evidence from new archaeological excavations at the Bhatnagar, Western India, in the prestigious earlier as Elsevier journal Quaternary Science Reviews, based on study file. The excavation was led by the ASI. The study was funded by the Directorate of Archaeology and Museums, Government of Gujarat, entrusted with building India's first experiential digital museum at Bhatnagar. The IIT said the research at Bhatnagar and the Indus Valley civilization has also been supported by Siddha Murthy, former chairperson of Infosys Foundation. For the past 5 years. Bhatnagar was a multi-cultural and multi-religious Buddhist, Hindu, Jain, and Islamic settlement. Excavations in several deep trenches revealed in the prevalence of seven cultural stages periods, namely Mauryan, Indo-Greek, Indo-Scythians, and Shaka Kasyap, Sakya Kshatrapas, satraps, descendant of provincial governors of ancient Achaemenid empires. Hindu, Solankis, Sultanate, Mughal, Islamic, and Greek was British colonial rule, and the city endures even today. One of the oldest Buddhist monasteries has been discovered during our excavations. We found characteristics archaeological artifacts, pottery, copper, gold, silver, and iron objects, and intricately designed bangles. We also found coin molds of the Greek king Apollodotus during the Indo-Greek rule at Bhatnagar, said ASI archaeologist Abhijit Ambedkar, co-authored of the paper. The period between the collapse of the Indus Valley civilization and the emergence of Iron Age and cities such as Gandhar, Kusal, and Avanti is often depicted as a dark age by archaeologists. Archaeological records are rare, the earliest one being the rock inscriptions of Emperor Ashoka at Sudarshan Lake, Girnar Hill, Gujarat. Our evidence makes Bhatnagar the oldest living city within a single fortification on Earth. So far in India, some of our recent unpublished radiocarbon dates suggest that the settlement could be as old as 1400 BCE, contemporary to very late phase of post-urban Harappan period. If true, then it suggests a cultural community continuity in India for the last 5,500 years, and the Dark Age may be a myth, said Professor Anindya Sarkar of the IIT, the lead author of the paper. So friends, this is all for today, and we will meet from tomorrow onwards with new news articles from the Hindu newspaper which are relevant from UPSC perspective. So till then, thanks a lot, thank you, and keep studying.